Why don't we Ron, you can insert things as you see fit, but why don't
All
you
right.
just start with the proposed bike routes presentation that you sent everybody?
Yeah, let's go with that. That was on the list.
Yep. So I know the general consensus was everybody seemed to like it, needs some updating. Um, uh, and that was kind of the general consensus. I know there were some specific issues if anyone wants to bring that up tonight, with specific slides or anything like that. Um, but
Well,
if anyone has any comments,
I didn't even make any notes on it, and I don't even know how to make the changes. Like I'm not
oh yeah, PowerPoint,
like that.
that's fine. If we discuss them and someone writes them down, or if you send me an email with a screenshot of the specific slide or tell me slide number, I can make those changes
Okay.
specifically. That won't be a problem.
All right. If there is a way that we can, well, I can always reach out to Doug too, I guess, but I I know Rich had mentioned if we make the changes and we can even use that to present. Is that what you was thinking, Rich? To show to I thought you mentioned something about presenting that
Oh, well, I know I looked through
PowerPoint.
it and thought it looked good, and I thought it would be. I don't remember exactly what I commented on, other than my thought just sitting here now is it would be a nice tool just to share with the community and um,
Yeah.
public document. This is some logistics of getting around Farmington and I don't know, some reference material, I guess.
Dylan, do we have a trail map? Like I don't know if it's a layer in GIS, but something that's like a
Yeah,
use
we
case.
have a trail map layer in GIS.
Okay. Is it possible to add a bike routes layer on there also and then publish it? Because I think once we start doing that, we get, the bike routes, and then the bike route to the high school library from there. And then you might have one from, the bike trail at Riverside going over to Union School or something like that. Before you know it, we get this whole network built. And I think, then you could start counting miles for the league application.
I know there's different markings on the trail map
Okay.
layer. I'm just trying to look at the legend online to see what those different lines are for.
So for those of us
The
who don't understand,
bike trail is already on there. It's a
Okay.
is that blue? I think that's blue. Yeah, it's a dark blue line.
so you said GIS. Now, what is that?
That is available on our town website. If you go to the home page and scroll all the way down, you'll find it.
Ron, it's a engineering format for doing layouts, for property lines, for surveying, things like that. So when you want to sound engineering smart, just drop in the words GIS and maps and stuff, and you sound smart. So,
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you guys see that?
Yep.
yep. Okay.
Yeah. So we have a lot of trails already mapped out here. Again, if you're wondering what certain colors mean, it's right here in the legend,
Okay.
right here.
Now, would we use this for, safe routes to schools and things like that too, as our kind of, here's our master map of everything, or would that be a separate?
That won't be published on the online version. That would be a map likely produced within the GIS system, but locally on
Okay.
our computer system that has
Okay.
GIS on it. And then we would distribute that rather than put it all in one
Gotcha.
big online map, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I think maybe, and maybe, you know, put it as an agenda item for next meeting. You know, to discuss our, you know, our annual goals. You know, and maybe even have a separate meeting for it, you know, where we just discuss goals and that's it. But, you know, I think having safe routes to schools, you know, take a look at the maps and, you know, highlight here's our school districts and the boundary lines and okay, how are we going to get from here to there? You know, I think getting kids to ride to school is huge.
Yeah, I agree. I think that moves the needle in the right direction.
So Carolyn and I were at the annual Bike Walk Connecticut event, as was Bruce, who's not here. But and there were people from all over the state, just like a who's who of like bicycle advocates. And it was amazing, all the different towns and municipalities, whatever, who have bicycling programs. So we made some really good connections, and Avon just inserted a program, and I believe Canton was in the process, and obviously Simsbury already does. But so we're going to start working on reaching out to the right people. Oh, you know who else isn't here? Is Kyle.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't see Kyle Chaves.
Yeah. So I sent him the link. I don't know if he's automatically sent it now or.
I added him to the list, so he should
Okay.
have automatically gotten one.
So yeah, I think that should be up there pretty high on our list. And we were kind of waiting until the elections, so because I guess it looks like pretty much a new school board, if I'm understanding it right. I really didn't have time to look at anything today, but so eventually we will put together a presentation for them.
All right. Seeing as no one really has any additional comments to add to the bike presentation that was shared by Ron, what was that, a week or so ago, Ron?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we can move on and shelve it for now, or if everyone wants to take a look for next meeting or email me edits to the document, I can make those edits.
Oh, so you're able to go into the document and make it look like the rest of it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
You sent us the PowerPoint document, so yeah, it shouldn't really be a problem.
Right. But it didn't originate from me. So I didn't know
Nope.
if
Nope.
anyone can do it.
Yeah, even though it's not from, you're not the creator, it really shouldn't matter.
Okay.
Ron, do you have Microsoft on your computer?
I do. I actually have I have PowerPoint on my phone
All right.
too.
So I bet if you open that file with it, you should be able to open it and edit it.
Okay.
I think it's the regular extension. It's not the display only one.
All right, cool. But
Um,
we'll just wait until we get everybody's
maybe two.
feedback. By the way, hi Jeff, how are you?
All right,
Okay.
are we ready to move to the next item?
Mm-hmm.
All right, next item was trail crosswalks. I had that in there from, I know Ron, I don't think you copied anybody else on the email, but I know you emailed me directly about crosswalks on the trails.
That
EBM,
was just to you, or
I don't
okay.
remember. I think it was.
I'm trying not to bother.
Yeah, I don't think I remember seeing anything.
Yeah, so I added it on there. Again, if any of you guys ever email me directly with something, I try and put it on the meeting agenda. So if I ever forget to add something that you guys want the rest of the group to discuss, just let me know.
So,
Oh no, you did share it with everybody, Ron.
oh, I did?
Yeah.
So many people read my email.
Yeah, EBM and what is that, Quantico?
Yeah.
Specifically.
Well, those are the only two that aren't, right?
Yeah. So
And
Kathy
Oko's got a
Blon-
stop sign.
yeah, I've spoken with both Kathy Blonsky, our town manager, and Russ Arnold, our public works director and town engineer. And supposedly when the trail was first constructed, that at the time the owners of those properties, in a condition of approvals for the trail being constructed, requested that the trail had stop signs rather than a crosswalk, to help alleviate their drivers of some headaches, I guess, of coming off of Newport Ave or
So,
the
so
other
that
road.
doesn't, okay. So I've heard that from Bruce in the past, and that doesn't help anyone who's in that road. It doesn't, there's no crosswalk there. So,
It's an agreement between the town and the, at the time, property owner, which would follow property owners if they have changed.
so,
My
Can
point is it's something that we can't change.
it's something that we definitely can't change. Is that like
Right,
written
can't we just
somewhere, or
ask?
is it-
I
Yeah.
mean, maybe that was the agreement, 10 years ago, but nothing says that, we can't have a discussion and request it, right?
I'll go there myself, you know.
I mean, what is it impossible to have like a stop sign and a crosswalk? Both?
No, most of them do.
So so if we kept the stop signs and just did a painted crosswalk, that would
Yeah.
satisfy the issue?
Well, yeah, it just needs, yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you should stop anyway. I mean, it's
So trail users should stop anyways.
For an
They
active
should.
driveway, yeah.
so there's a section in Cheshire where they just put up these big swinging gates to stop the cyclists from flying through. It's a really busy, it was on Facebook. I don't know how to screen share. I made a copy of it. But it was just solely because cyclists are flying through that intersection. And now they can't because you have to weave through this gate. So, and there's a stop sign there too. And a traffic light.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dylan, but I think painting a crosswalk on there, sends the message to the motorists to also pay attention for the people crossing, versus the stop sign, sends the message to the cyclists that, hey,
Yep.
it's a driveway. So, I mean, it goes, for both sides.
Yeah, it might have been my fault partially because I thought you guys were asking for the stop signs to come down entirely
Not at all.
and for a crosswalk to be put in place. So that was my little fumble.
I am
So
all for anything that's going to
clarify
slow
that.
people down.
I will clarify that with Kathy and Russ.
Okay.
But as far as I'm aware, there is an agreement between the town and the property owner, basically putting what's there now there forever in stone. And that's my understanding right now. But I will clarify that just to see if that changes things.
So if we wanted to paint a crosswalk, is it as simple as, contacting the property owner and says, hey, we're planning on painting a crosswalk. Are you okay with that? And just let them say yes, and then we have at it.
I would think so. I would also think maybe the traffic authority might have a say, but I'm not 100% sure about that.
So I think these owners just need to know that if you started in Plainville and rode your bike all the way to the Massachusetts line through Suffield to the line, that those are pretty much the only two trailheads without a crosswalk,
Okay,
except for two in Simsbury, which I think are because they had just repaved
yeah,
along Route 10. So,
yeah, I wasn't really aware that the
It's
stop signs
precedent.
were meant to stay
mhm.
and that we were just thinking about adding a painted walk or the group wanted to add a painted walk. So I can make that clarification.
And I don't mean to come across as being a jerk. I hate to do that, but like my whole thing is that was that Neil is to
Yeah.
like I'm trying to look out for everyone else. That's what I've always done
Oh,
for every
Matt's here.
walker out there, every
Yeah.
cyclist, every whatever. And we talk about liability on the town, and we don't do this and that because of it. Well, this doesn't make sense if you follow that thought pattern. This doesn't make sense that we don't have crosswalks there, no matter what type of agreement.
No.
I just don't get it. But anyway, I'll let you check on that first before I.
Yeah, I'll speak with the both of them. Sorry, Matt, I didn't see your comment before. Glad you're
No
here.
problem. No problem. We
Matt.
got it working. Thanks.
Yeah. We do have somebody from the public, Darren Gregg.
There he is.
I Darren, you can unmute at this time. Well, I guess we can squeeze in a public comment right now, seeing as we were just done with our new business.
Like the sports radio talk show where after a while you're.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. Well, Darren, if you'd like to say anything, just hit the raise hand button and we will get back to you as soon as we can. All right. So shall we move on to old business, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. First thing I had on there for the agenda items was Matt's bike and pedestrian policy draft. I wanted to know if anybody else had anything they wanted to add from the last meeting, if anyone had a chance to look over it a bit more closely, or if anyone had something they wanted to discuss with the group.
The only thing I didn't add that I was gonna add was I wanted to put in there that if we have any lights, automatic systems that work with to make sure that they work with bicycles as well as vehicles. That was something I wanted to put in there because the technology's out there, and I know eventually that's probably going to happen on the state roads anyway. But I just wanted to put that in there. But other than that, unless you guys have some suggestions, let me know.
Matt and Rich, you guys probably ride the most on the road.
Jeff too.
Forgive me, and Jeff.
Hence the reason I was late for the meeting.
Yeah.
Coming home from work.
In your experience, do traffic cameras see you and have the light do the appropriate phasing?
I'd say no.
You would say no? I'm not entirely sure myself.
The only place that I know where they recognize you is in Hartford on crosswalks. They've got the crosswalk set up where they can see, as long as you move into the crosswalk. And I don't know if it's all of them. I know some of them. There's a camera or something that sees you and gives you the crosswalk signal to cross, changes the lights, the traffic light.
And that's all automated?
Yeah, it
Which you
appears to
don't
be.
have
In
to hit a
fact, I think
button.
there's even signs where the push buttons used to be that say don't push them. It's automatic.
Yeah, I ride to South Windsor about once a week through Simsbury and Bloomfield, and there's usually enough traffic that I have to wait for a car, but if you're sitting there on 185 and Route 10, you're going to be sitting there waiting until a car rolls up behind you to trip that light to go.
Yeah, I
I've-
know that's
I've
true at
actually-
the jug handle too. The jug handle, you have to wait, and when you do get the green, you barely have enough time to get through on a bike if you're starting from a stop. Usually by the time you get to the on-ramp that's going left down Route 4 towards West Hartford, those cars have a green light and you're right in their line of fire. So usually I have to wave to that whatever car is waiting there and they let me pass.
Okay.
I've actually found the opposite. I found a majority of the sensors in the road, as long as they're marked out and you can see them, if you lean a bike over them, even a bike that's not made out of metallic material like steel, it generally picks them up. But there are a bunch that, like he said about the jug handle, nothing works there. But the lights that are just past the jug handle, where you go to take the right to go down towards East Farms there, those lights, we've had good experiences with them with group rides, just putting the bike over the sensor and the lights change for us. So it works on some, but not on all.
I have a question. So, guys, are we talking about like in Westfield, I think it is, where you have to be in the box and the light senses you and then it'll change the light? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you have those ones that have the sensors that are actually cameras mounted up by the lights that you can see. If you're in the lane, most of those times, those things will change for a bicycle as well as a vehicle. Sometimes, Ron, there will be a marked lane that says, it'll show a bicycle and that's the one that'll trip it. I'm also talking about the magnetic sensors, those squares that you see near the intersections.
Yep.
That are used to trip the cars. If you lean a bike over the right side of those, generally they will trip for you.
Oh, because I never have luck when I'm standing there to take a left onto Route 6 from I forget, one of those side roads, and I'm on that.
Yeah, some of them will work, some of them won't.
Yeah.
I've had mixed results, but most of the routes that I use, like I was riding up to the Connecticut Fire Academy today, many of those lights will change if you set yourself up on the sensor.
So now I have a feeling we're talking about two different things then.
Well, two different
Because-
types of sensors.
Okay, so are we talking about the camera type that looks down on you? Is that what we want? Yeah.
It depends on what people put in, but I've gotten the sensors that are in the ground to actually trip with the bike.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what technology as long as it recognizes bicycles.
Exactly. Now,
That's
I will say this, the cameras are a little bit nicer because they have a wider angle. If you're lining up on those magnets, sometimes they're a little in the middle of the lane sometimes, so you kind of have to watch your mirror to make sure that you're not interfering with the traffic when you move over to set those off.
Do we know of those anywhere locally?
I'd say most intersections have the magnetic coils.
The upper,
I
like
don't
in,
think Ron understands
Oh, the
what
cameras?
we're talking about. So Ron, if you ever go up to an intersection and you look in the intersection, look down and you'll see rectangles. Usually there's 3, sometimes 4, and they're basically when they install those, they cut a thin groove into the pavement. Then they lay a wire in there, and then they cover it with an epoxy. And
Okay.
that wire is wired in, what it essentially is a magnet, an electronic magnet that will sense when a car is waiting over it. So sometimes when we get complaints that a light is not cycling, it's because the person has driven past all of those and is in the intersection, is not sitting on a magnet. And they're like, oh my gosh, this light is not working.
yeah,
And that's what Matt's talking about. So if you look at those and you see those, if you position a bike, like when we have a class, and probably Matt, when he has a big group, all the cyclists being on all of those magnets will set it off. If you're by
Okay.
yourself, it might not, but if you lean the bike over, especially with the drive side down where all the gears and stuff are next to one of those wires, it'll most times pick it up.
So
The
I've
key
never
is-
tried to lean it down.
Right, so you can try to lean it down if it's not cycling. It doesn't always work, but I've had really good with doing that. Just
Okay.
like Matt has. I can't think of any intersections where it doesn't work for me. Camera wise, I don't know, I don't quite pay attention to those. I can't think of the ones with the cameras where I've had issues, so I'd be guessing. I've been up to the jug handle, but it's usually with a group of guys, and we've always gone through, but that's mostly because there's traffic already. So I don't know, sitting there without any traffic, if that one's just not working. Because if you do get like a crack in the roadway or something and the wire breaks, the loop essentially becomes no good, doesn't work anymore until somebody comes out and redoes one by pulling that up. And usually they do the whole thing where they actually cut another thing in. The camera stuff that Matt's talking about is new, and maybe you could, someone that's more experienced as to what intersections or whatever. But essentially, when they install a camera up there, it takes a picture of nothing being there when the guy sets it up, and then when that scene changes, as there's something waiting there, then it's telling the computer to cycle through that this is to now give this intersection or side street or whatever it is a green light. So if that's broken and not working, then you could sit there forever and it just never cycles through. Hopefully you understand.
I do, thanks. Appreciate that.
The cameras are far more reliable than the loops are.
Yeah, that's my understanding for why they put them in. You don't have to cut them every time they pave.
Programmable.
They have to come back out and they have to
So they
redo them.
But they
So
can
it's-
widen them and narrow them depending on what view they want too.
Yeah.
Right.
So when the time comes, so when they redo a road or whatever, is it way more expensive for the camera?
Yeah, it's, you're probably not exact numbers, but you're probably talking 25 grand for a camera versus 5 grand for a loop.
Yeah, and isn't it also because they have to change the computer essentially?
Yeah, they have to change the whole system, I believe, and how it talks to one another. Another benefit with the cameras is that they can see flashing lights for emergency vehicles much better as
Oh,
well. And they will actually turn green in whatever direction they're coming from to help move traffic through too.
so has
what
that
about-
ever been a consideration in town?
We only own one traffic signal, and right now, last year I think we put in for a pilot program that the state's doing to upgrade municipal owned traffic signals, but all other traffic signals are owned by the state.
Which one
And
is
as
that?
they're-
Yeah,
Which
I
one
was
is
saying,
that
question,
going
which
on?
is the one that we own?
Yeah, we own the one on South Road over by the mall. I think it's
Okay.
south and
The one that goes into the mall?
no, that one's owned by the mall, I think.
That's right. So South Road,
South Road and
Is that New Britain Avenue?
no, it's gonna be. There's not one at Woodruff, right?
I don't think so.
Stop sign.
oh, on South Road, there's the mall one, and that's it.
Oh, then we must own that one. I know it's on South Road, so
Okay.
that's the
That's
one
gotta
that
be
we
it, because
own.
the one closer, after you get past that, it's West Hartford.
Exactly,
Maybe
yeah.
State, actually.
So that must be it. But like I said, Russ and I, the DOT asked for towns that would be interested in getting their signals upgraded by the state. And we put in for that pilot program. We haven't really heard anything since then. But in terms of all other traffic light controlled intersections, they're all operated by the state. And I don't believe the state is looking to when they redo intersections, I don't believe they are installing loops unless they already have all the infrastructure and it's really just they're putting in a span pole rather than a full intersection upgrade.
Well, I would imagine the advantage to that too is you can
Yeah.
grind up the road anytime you want to, and you don't have to bother worrying about the loops if the cameras are there.
Exactly. And what we're seeing is the state is starting to do a lot more of these ultra thin pavement treatments that they did between Town Farm Road and Monteith Drive. So that
Okay.
that is a fairly new program where they do a really thin milling. I want to say it's quarter of an inch, maybe something like that. It's less than a half inch. It might be 3/8 of an inch of milling, and then they come in with this special pavement and mixtures, and I believe it's even a special paving machine, and that's where we got that ultra thin pavement from. And I guess it's very tricky to patch once you cut it up. So I do believe the state's moving away from loops slowly but surely. It's just going to take time.
Dylan, this might be a little off the subject, but is there any plans to repave Route 4 out of Unionville going into Burlington and up in that area? Route 4 and 179?
I want to say yes. I want to say yes, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay,
Let-
I was just curious.
Yeah,
No,
we
I know
can.
why Matt's curious. That's one of his favorite routes.
Hey, listen, I rode through a hole
It's one
so
of-
deep the other day over there. I
It
thought
is,
it was
there
right
are
through
some
the
really
Grand
bad,
Canyon.
yep, that's
It
one
was
of my
just
favorite
black.
routes too, but there are some bad potholes there.
Yeah. I mean, it's like running over railroad tracks in some spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, the state has this has a GIS system that tracks a lot of their projects.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna give you guys the link,
Oh, that'd be
and
great.
that way you can always look at it and pretty much see what the state is up to at any time.
Speaking of which, that job they did on the bridge in Unionville is absolutely fantastic.
Oh,
It's super smooth. There's no seams. I rode home on it today. It was great.
yeah, I'm glad to hear. They just need to finish some painting items. I understand, and then they have a few more punch list stuff to do. But
Yeah, it looks really good.
All right. Should we move on to our next item? Bike League application update. I know last meeting, I think we said, Ron, you reported back that the due date got changed way back. It was like, what was it, like February was the due date, and now it's what, June? I think.
Yeah, so we're actually meeting again Saturday morning.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Chipping away
That's
at it.
great.
There are things that would really help us to get done before then, which can be part of this discussion, like finding bicycle-friendly businesses. And I think we just start right in town hall and in the library and
How about the bike shop?
Right. No, the bike shop's perfect.
Yeah.
That's as low-hanging fruit as you can get. It's just a matter of putting together a few of us to reach out and to
Yeah.
send.
Matt,
How,
Ron, I'm gonna have some more time after the next week or so. If you wanna, text me or give me a call and we can set something up, I can start going around and helping you out on that.
Cool. Okay.
how difficult would it be, Jeff, to get the police station to sign on as a bike-friendly business?
That's another one. Mm-hmm.
It's got shower facilities and all that, right?
It does, but it's in a secured area. So the showers and stuff like that are in like the officers' locker rooms where
Sure.
lockers are sometimes left open. There's weapons.
But
it's
it's still,
a lot of areas are
that's
also
the
like,
employees. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I mean, but if it's for the employees, so it's a
Correct,
bike-friendly business,
it's
right?
for the employees. I don't know, there's
Yeah.
no shower stuff for the general public.
I don't
So-
think it needs to be, right, Ron?
No, right. So for a bike friendly business, you know what? I'll send out an email of the application. It's just for the employees. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, because I
okay.
thought
It's certain
Jackson
price.
Labs was in that. I thought Jackson Labs was a bike-friendly business.
We
Yeah.
don't have anybody.
Does an eye wash station fit that? Sure, they have a couple of those.
And they did talk a lot about that at this meeting that we were at. They actually had the executive director for League of American Bicyclists there. So this is all of their programs. And he talked about how Connecticut is lacking. So we're 20th out of every state in bike friendliness, and Massachusetts is number 1. So the big question is why there's such a difference between our neighbors 1 and 20. And
Well, we're top half.
Hmm?
We're in the top half.
Yeah.
Considering the ages of our roads and the narrowness of some of our roadways, that's not horrible.
Yeah.
You know, we're
That's
we're
true.
slowly making improvements.
We are. Yeah. Anyway, I will get that link out to everyone.
Sounds good.
Okay. In terms of getting bike-friendly businesses to sign up and fill out that application, I'll reach back out to Rose, our economic development person at Town Hall, to see if I can get into the next newsletter cycle for her.
Dylan, how does all the, you know, how with the new high school, they're talking about moving town hall into the 1928 building and doing all the rehabs in there. Is that an opportunity to basically turn anything that we're moving and setting up into a bike-friendly business as well? I mean, it doesn't need to be a business. I mean, can a town be a bike-friendly business?
I don't know if a municipality can be a bike-friendly business. I think it's more so
So it would
assumed
be-
that we have
that's-
some bike infrastructure, but not necessarily things like public showers in town
But
hall.
does it need to be a public shower or?
I
You know, 'cause
don't.
I mean,
I'm
most
not really
businesses,
sure.
yeah, most businesses, like if you think of an insurance company or something, you know, they might have employee locker rooms, employee gym and all that. It's clearly not public,
Yeah,
but you know, it's there for their employees. And I mean, if the town employs, you know, 50 people or something like that, then, you know, it's an opportunity to make that a bike. Maybe business is a wrong term. It should be employer, bike friendly employer. I don't know. It's probably more of a Bruce
Yeah.
question.
yeah. I'm
Well-
not sure. Let's wait for
It'll all
Ron.
be clearer when I send that to you, but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that there are town halls or city halls
Okay.
that are
Yeah.
bike.
I mean, we could
friendly.
probably also ask Mark Moriarty at New Britain, you know, because they've done a ton of bike friendly stuff there.
Just spoke with him. He's such a good dude.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
but
but
in terms of the 28 building, it's my understanding that they're gonna start going for permits probably next month or the month after that. And that project should be or would be starting as soon as teachers move out of that building. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the requirements are for bike friendliness at employers at this time, but
Ron,
we'll review Ron's email and we'll
Yeah.
see what we can do.
Another idea would be, you know, the couple of gyms. You know, the one in, you know, the
Off of
Stop and Shop
Brickyard.
Plaza, Big Sky on Brickyard. You know, all those, should be bike friendly businesses. I know Big Sky's got a bike rack out front.
Yep.
They've got showers and all that. So I mean, they should have everything they need to check the box of being a bike friendly business. And it's literally on the trail too.
It's just a matter of reaching out. So,
And I think they seem, progressive enough that they'd want to take advantage of, getting that status. They could advertise it and, they're all in the papers.
Yeah, I'm a member of Valley Fitness, and they've
Okay.
got the bike rack right out front. I could reach out to them.
Awesome. That'd be cool.
let's see.
I also feel like there's that coffee shop opening. I feel like that's kind of a slam dunk.
At the depot. by the
Um,
trail in
There's actually two
Unionville?
of them. There's
Yeah.
Bruno's, and the one at the depot just opened up today.
Yeah, that's
Oh, Daily-
our neighbor. Yeah.
Grind?
Yeah,
Daily
Daily
Grind,
Grind.
yeah.
I could talk to him.
Yep. Yeah, we could talk to Evan about that one. I'm sure he'd be happy to.
Except just so there is, I think it depends by how many employees, but there is an application fee. So I'm not sure how much it is for a small business, but it could be tough for a startup. And
Would we be willing to subsidize it?
I mean,
At least this first round as a town?
I don't think we have a budget for that, right? Do we?
Yeah, I don't think that would be a possibility at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, because really it's benefiting well, I guess it benefits everyone, but
Ron,
Who
how
does
much
the
is
fee
the
go
fee?
to?
I'm not sure. I believe it goes by the
Number of employees, like
Uh,
0 or 1 to
50 or-
50, maybe $50, and then 50 to 200, maybe $100. So it's
Well, who
probably
gets the-
something like that.
Who's the fee getting paid to? The league?
Yeah, the league.
Okay.
Yeah, just like when we do the bike friendly community.
And
Wait, sir,
we get grants for it?
I don't even know.
I'm not 100% sure. I think you can get grants if you're installing like bike racks and benches and
Okay.
things of that nature, but I don't
So something
not
physical.
to apply.
Okay.
But if you guys beat me to it, all you have to do is go on League of American Bicyclists under bike friendly business, and it's all right there. All the information that we're talking about and more.
And maybe they would even, if you contacted the league and mentioned, hey, we're trying to do this with the town and getting a push to get as many businesses as we can, would you guys be willing to, say like the town paid $500 or something like that, we submit all these as a blanket? Maybe they're flexible enough to be like, oh, hey, we can get, 20 businesses in this one shot versus trying to nickel and dime each business. When you got to pay money, that becomes harder.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say yes or no, but I just highly doubt it.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah, it's 1 to 49 employees is $50, 50 to 500 is 100. It just goes up from there.
Well, $50 isn't that bad.
Yeah.
No, and we can tell the businesses that, we can put it on all our Facebook platform, at least Bike Friendly Farmington's, all the different social media platforms that we're on.
Yeah, I don't see why we couldn't even put that on the town, on the page for the FBAC.
Yeah,
Here's
that's
the list of
something
bike
that-
friendly businesses.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that, at least for me.
So there's some incentive right there.
Yeah, free advertisement, sort of. All right. Should we move on to our last item? Farmington Valley Trails updates. That's just kind of a blanket item.
Farmington Valley Trails updates. Oh, if
Anything crazy
anyone's
going
not
on?
busy Friday night, there's our annual meeting. And it's at Avon. Geez. It's at the Avon Community or Senior Center. I'm not even sure what time it starts.
Mhm.
It's on our Facebook page.
Okay.
I don't know what time it starts because I have to be there to set up, so I don't even know the start time.
I think it's 7.
7? We'll go with that. And there's going to be a guest speaker who I forget who that is. I'm just bad. I don't know.
That's all right.
It
Rob.
should be a good
One
time.
thing to note on the bike trail, I know in Terriffill, I think Friday the 17th at 10 o'clock, they're doing a official grand opening of the trail going out of Terriffill along 189. Pretty sweet little trail, gets you off a very busy road similar to Route 4 here in Farmington. So just an FYI.
And isn't that taking, I think I saw Bruce mention that they're going to have the East Coast Greenway tent or in Terriffill Center on that day too.
Okay.
Is that, Rich, is that the trail that's actually going to be named after the gentleman from Bloomfield, Paul Hughes?
I don't know that. I just know it's a nice trail. I was riding it before it was finished with my commutes.
Yeah, we've
And,
used it on our Saturday group rides. It's really nice, except for last week when it had a giant hole about a foot deep at the
Yeah.
end. But
Yeah, in
that's
fact,
okay. We just rode around.
yeah, you got to be.
But it's really nice.
cognizant
It
of
is
that.
really nice, and it gets you off that busy road, which is terrific.
Right. And just one other thing, I guess for Ron's benefit, one day when I was riding it, there was some kind of event and there was a refreshment stand at the church there that does the bike loaning program.
Yeah.
So I did grab a information card from the guy.
That's the one in
Okay.
Bloomfield.
Yeah, the church right off the trail there.
Yeah, it's that. I think that's the one that they might be naming it after Paul.
Yep.
I remember that with Paul. So as far as the trail last meeting, I don't think I have anything new from that
Okay.
health council meeting. So I guess just the same. So, well, I guess no, I better not. All right. So the bike signage, is that even a possibility? The 3 feet to pass going through the flats, is that? And yeah.
Yep. Just need final locations. I sent you guys a map and I got some comments back, and I just haven't had time to go
Oh,
out and actually stake
didn't
the
see it.
physical location.
I'm sorry.
It's
We
all
can
right.
go on a field trip together if you want.
We
Don't
could.
do it, Dylan. Don't do it.
Okay, so cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Graffiti Bridge. That's a Prince song, by the way.
That should have
graffiti
been
on the-
taken care of.
It should be now, like done.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you for that. Okay, I don't know this whole new bridge thing. Does that have to go through a vote? Like how close is that to even happening?
The third river crossing, the extension of Monteith Drive, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
A lot of that largely depends on how the project is paid for. So
Okay.
for instance, our Burlington Road project doesn't need a vote from the public. It just needs the approval of the town council to award the project, because that project is 100% funded by the Lot SIP program, which is a state program. So in the unlikely event that Russ and I are able to find a large enough funding source that is 100% funded in one way or another, then it would be put out to bid and approved by town council, just like our other lot sit projects. But I don't foresee that happening. That would be highly unusual, especially considering that every single bridge program out right now is for existing bridges only. They don't even typically write grants and programs for new bridges. And in terms of a new bridge is classified by no other method of crossing was there existing. So that doesn't include things like ferries and walking across the river. That would include pedestrian bridges and things of that nature. So for Carolyn, for instance, with your impossible dream that you shared with us last month, that would be a particularly difficult project to get funded based off of the same principles that it would be a new river crossing, and that there's not really any funding sources for that. Therefore, cost is usually bared on by the town. But with the proposed project, the proposed bridge, which all we really have right now is the traffic study, and that's still being reviewed. And I don't believe it's been made public yet. That if the project were to move forward, we would need to find funding for it, which we're currently working with CROG to figure that part out.
Okay, so that leads up to my question. In the design, and we talked about this, will there be a ped bike lane, or
More than likely
cross
it's
it
going to
without-
be more than likely it's going to be very large sidewalks on either side with probably bump outs similar to what you would find on the old railroad trail, the old railroad bridge that crosses the Farmington River over by the Midpoint development, where they have the bump outs for the benches. So
Yeah.
more than likely it's going to be a wide sidewalk with something similar to that, so that you can stop and view the river without necessarily being in the way.
Really?
But all of that is much further down the pipeline, only because different proposals cost different amounts of money, and we don't know where the money's coming from yet and how much.
And Dylan, are we thinking it'd be a 2-lane or a 3-lane bridge?
3 or 4.
Okay.
Dylan, that bridge that they did on Town Farm in Avon, where it
Yep.
comes off of Route 10 there.
Yeah.
Remember they changed that? It used to have that super steep hill and it was really narrow. Was that one of those projects that they had funded through the state?
I'm not 100% sure, but that would be a bridge replacement, not a new bridge. So
Okay. All right.
In
Even
speaking-
though they moved it over and redid the whole thing, that's a
Yep.
replacement.
yeah. Yep. Because they took the old bridge down. Now with the bridge on Meadow Road, if you remember back in, what was it, like 87, the town built the bridge on Meadow Road to shift traffic off of the existing masonry block bridge.
I don't remember that. Sorry. I didn't live here then.
Yeah. That was done by the town and the town's highway department. So with that, and our partners at CROG are telling us that the state of Connecticut likely hasn't seen a new bridge in probably 20 years or more.
Oh,
So all of that institutional knowledge is retired, for the most part, in terms of new bridge crossings. But
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the last new bridge I saw was Pearl Harbor Memorial coming out of New Haven.
yeah, that might be the last one. So if this project gets a little bit more wind in its sail, then it will be pretty big news for the state. As a
So,
whole.
so we're gonna build this once in a lifetime bridge, and we're not in a bike friendly community without a bike or pedestrian lane. I mean, it's gonna be a sidewalk, but
There's gonna have to be sidewalks on both sides, I believe, and I don't know if right now it's planned. All we have are concept drawings, they're not even plans. So we're years from that, Ron,
we're years from that.
probably.
Okay.
Ron, by the time
Probably
it gets
2
done, you'll
years out.
probably be in a wheelchair, you and me both.
Okay, but this isn't just for us, it's, for the future, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah,
but with the trail parking lot being on it within close proximity on New Britain Avenue, it would be beneficial to have some kind of bicycle infrastructure off the sidewalks, I would think. But we'll have to wait and see what that necessarily develops as.
Yeah, I would imagine if they put anything in, the road is gonna be fairly wide, which will allow for bike travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
It's a mammoth of a project, and I hope we get to do it.
So Dylan, so I saw that we went into an agreement to buy the 2 parcels on Farmington Avenue. Did we buy them and own them yet, or is that
Yep,
just we've agreed
those have been
price?
purchased.
Okay.
Yep, there was a family that owned both parcels, and they agreed to sell to the town for a sum of money.
Where is that, Dylan?
It's the house, and I think it's like a in-law apartment style building that was like a garage apartment unit thing, or maybe a second home. That
Right
was
opposite
existing.
Monteith Drive.
If you're leaving the,
Oh,
the
okay.
town hall complex, it's right in front of you. Obviously those need to be demolished before a bridge gets put up.
I've got a question.
Just go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, it's not related to the bridge, but you mentioned CROG a couple times, and I know Bruce mentioned this, I don't know, a couple meetings ago about having a meeting to approach CROG with the whole jug handle project. Has anything like that happened? I don't know. With these meetings with CROG.
Not to my knowledge.
And I know, I mean, that's my purpose of being on this committee, and I just reiterate what I keep seeing from my travels around Hartford and beyond, that CROG and the state seems to be really moving towards connectivity, and but the towns have to approach them. But I've seen them with, Canton. They just, some studies being done to, make improvements on the Route 44 corridor and the bike trail crossing there.
Yeah. Let me speak with Russ to see who would be the best person at CROG to speak to about that. I've got a name in the back of my head who I think would be pretty good, but I don't know if that's his wheelhouse.
I know Bruce could give you a name off the top of his head. And in fact, I saw
I'm sure he can.
I saw the guy speak at a meeting in East Hartford for the East Coast Greenway. It was about a month or two ago, and what it was the announcement of plans and studies that are being done to continue the bike trail from Terriffill and Bloomfield through Bloomfield and Hartford and East Hartford to try and complete the whole East Coast Greenway. But a lot of the the guy from CROG did a real quick speech, and then he had to run from East Hartford over to Simsbury to make similar announcements.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah,
so
that
it
was,
just
that
it
was
just seems to
probably
me,
Matt Hart.
yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah, Matt is their executive director.
And it just seems like there was a you know, a lot of excitement and push about, again, about connectivity and but if they don't hear anything from the town, I guess, you know, there's plenty on their plate to keep them busy.
Yeah. I think if we do any kind of meeting with CROG, we should have CROG invite West Hartford to that meeting for the jug handle, because I would think it would be beneficial to both towns to have something connect through.
Certainly.
Now that
Maybe even
comes with
throw
its
in New
own set
Britain
of
too.
challenges. I'm sorry, what was that?
I said maybe even throw in New Britain too. I mean,
Yeah, we could
we're
add New
kind of
Britain as
over in
well.
that corridor.
Yeah. Now, continuing the bike trail, a bike path or pedestrian path, whatever you'd like to call it, through the jug handle to Route 4 and continuing along Route 4 has its own challenges. But perhaps if we work with the property owners, it might be safer and more budget friendly to do paths like, so if you cross the jug handle, traffic coming off of 84 just got the green light. Rich is right in the middle. He waves them. They let him go. He's continuing down. He takes a right onto South Road and then takes a left into the parking lot per se of the medical buildings with the copper roofs there. I forget what numbers those are. But those go pretty far back. And then I think you could probably do a quick connection to another property along Route 4, just because there's pretty steep slopes and it might require retaining walls if we did it all along Route 4. And retaining walls can get quite expensive, and then nobody wants to own them.
I think the big thing is like Rich said, we just need a way so those lights can change in such a fashion that it will allow time for a cyclist to cross without those lights where 84 comes off turning green and all of a sudden we're in the middle of the lane. Because Route 4 gets a tremendous amount of cycling traffic. It really does. I see people on those roads all the time. So cars are used to seeing us there. And probably the best thing, Rich, like you said, is the fact that there's no obstacles in the way. Once you cross past the jug handle, you're not blocked. The view is good. The only thing is sometimes those lights will change before you get there.
But are we talking at all about before the jug handle too? Just how to get up there without dying?
That would all be part of the same project, Ron,
Okay.
but that's significantly easier to pan out than the jug handle crossing and then continuing from the jug handle to the West Hartford line. Just because of the grades and the slopes and the existing infrastructure that's there.
I thought that Bruce mentioned one of the things that was important to this whole project is there is a hiking trail that crosses through there, and
The
they want to
Metacomic
connect.
Trail, right?
Yeah. So that's another incentive to at least have the crossing be friendly.
Yeah. I'm gonna add that into my notes. Thank you.
I got another wicked cool idea too.
What is it?
You know the stacked bridges that go over 84?
Yeah.
Well, the Dead Man's Highway, the straightaway, that should be a bike trail to New Britain. I don't know. I just
that
was
would be
reading about the
amazing.
history of that today. That's like 60 years old, I think those bridges are close to it. And the roads are in perfect condition. I was up there a couple weeks ago, and
Ron, we can get Mark Moriarty to do that in the New Britain side for sure.
just a thought.
Turn that into a velodrome. Get some bank corners up there.
Don't get me excited.
Pump track in the middle. Everybody wins.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, if the town owned all the farms along Meadow Road, I would have a loop in there right from Tungus Mead for just walkers and bike racing.
Yeah.
Be like New Britain's Walnut Hill Park.
Oh, that would be cool. Let's do it.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, and they could still farm.
Dylan's like, oh man, I gotta get the out of this place.
No, I'm good with it.
Dylan's like, Dylan has
in
left the
terms-
building and is back.
Yeah, in terms of the Route 9 dead part of the highway, that's a completely a state issue, not necessarily something I would be able to even influence, I would think.
But just for kicks, I mean, how would we access that off South Road or?
I'm not even sure. I know the state uses it for material storage. They've done line striping practicing there. They do use it.
But do
whether
they get there off of South Road or? I guess I could just look on the satellite
I
map.
have no idea how they get there.
I think it's
Yeah,
a secret.
I believe they do because we've used it for the fire department. We've put vehicles over the side there to do training and then had Farmington Motorsports haul them back up when we're done.
Well, Rich knows how to get up there.
I bushwhacked
it-
from Middle Road, but there's, I think on the other side of 84, there's better access.
Okay.
So the access is off of 84. The access
Okay.
is for what's left, because before, if you remember, none of that was used until they tied Route 9 in. But what's left, if you're going 84 west and you take the access ramp to go 9 south, there's a spot there with a gate that you get in.
Okay.
I'm
Yep,
sure
I
there's
can picture
another
that.
one on the other
Yeah.
side somewhere that I'm not
Yeah.
sure of. But like where Middle Road and stuff is, there's trails that kids walk in. You know,
Sure.
you can we have a big issue with the holy also the name, I can't think of the name of the monastery area.
Mhm.
They park there and there's trails that go along the monastery property where the kids get in there. The state police have cameras and everything all up through there, so they alert us when there's people up there and aren't supposed to be there. So I don't know exactly what their trail stuff is, but physical access, you got some trails, none of them legal, none of them, you know, they're all just been whatever. Vehicle wise, I don't know of any way to get on there from the local roads. It's all from the highway side.
Okay.
Interesting. So that's it for me.
Yeah, I have nothing else to add.
So Dylan, do we pretty much have the go ahead for our little route through the Highlands, or
No.
no?
No. Essentially, because all of those are off the main roads, they're all residential streets. I honestly, what would we be putting there? Are we painting signs or on the road? Are we putting up signs?
I would think kind of like we've got the East Coast Greenway, you know, the little 3x3, 4x4 signs, you know, just like that, you know, just with an arrow, you know, off the bike path, you might have a more substantial sign with a kind of a map drawn, and then this would be just an arrow that says to, you know, town services or library or high school or something. I'm thinking
We
that
just
each
wanted
intersection you have a
people-
little sign.
Yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
think that getting from the especially if you're from town, which almost everybody that would be trying to get from the trail to the town hall, high school, library complex would have an issue getting there.
I guess anybody can use a map.
Yeah.
But I mean, but do we want to have people use maps or just kind of see it and, hey, let me see how to get to the library. Oh, hey, kind of if you're riding on the bike path, I mean, a lot of people probably don't even think to use those cut throughs from the bike path to the Highlands neighborhood in the first place. And
Yeah.
if you live in the Highlands, you'll know it. But if you don't live in the Highlands and you're on the bike path, you've probably never had a reason to go down those roads before.
Okay, then maybe perhaps instead of multiple signs throughout the neighborhood, perhaps maybe one larger sign with a map of the Highlands that includes the town hall complex.
Yeah.
Over by the trail by we'll call it the off ramp,
Yeah, that could do
or
it.
that would be sufficient.
I mean, maybe
West Hartford
Mr.
has 3 loops that they've identified, and they have little colored signs. I think there's a red, a green, and a blue.
Yeah.
And something like that. They're not obtrusive signs, but I think it would help. And then we can actually point to that as an accomplishment, because now we've connected a lot of the
Right.
town through the bike trail to town services
Okay.
Definitely.
on a marked route.
Yep.
Thank you, Neil.
Yeah. Okay. There's a walkway between
So right now we've got the crushed gravel path from the bike path to the Highlands. And then then you've got the 2 walkways, the official walkways in the Highlands to get to the high school property. And then you've got the unofficial right of way, which is a dirt path going through the woods to the upper fields.
Yeah, and then we have a connection path paved between Pinewood Drive and Morgan Place.
Yep. Yeah, so that'll connect. And then you've got a paved path that goes from the top of Wildwood to
Yeah,
Ledgewood. But I'm thinking if we're gonna connect off the bike path, we do that lower stone gravel path that goes to, I think that might be Rosewood. And then that's kind of in the lower Highlands. And then you basically zigzag west to one of the 2 cut throughs. Either the one off Crestwood or the one off, I forget the name of it.
yeah,
Beechwood maybe.
yeah, Beechwood, I think.
But honestly, if there's a map, we get one loop and people are free to ride that loop or not.
Okay.
Neil, I like the idea of the colored loops. And that just makes it super easy to just follow colored signs.
Yeah. It also is going to connect people if there's a sporting event or a concert or something up at
Sure.
the high school. Yeah.
Yep. We get a gigantic, LED sign on the bike path that says "Go vote."
Yeah.
Get 2 people to ride their bikes to go vote.
So the other thing, Dylan, I know there's been some updates, but I don't know that anybody on the committee is necessarily informed that affect the bike trail, north of the river through is it the Midpoint project?
Yeah, Midpoint
And,
Development.
yeah, and all the tree cleaning that we were going to do. Can you just give everybody an update on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically late spring, early summer, we started preparing for a large tree trimming operation that would take place just before the Midpoint Development project would be lowering their portion of the trail in order to connect the trail to their property. Unfortunately, one of the 2 developers involved in that project passed away this summer, and since then they have largely been held up in court filings because the developer didn't have a will, is my understanding.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and there was family involved, but I believe now the other developer has been able to take full control of the project. But I know that he's still going back and forth on certain things with our planning and zoning department before they start construction. So our project, our tree trimming operation is on hold until we know more about their timeline and schedule.
Dylan, what's our responsibility with the tree trimming?
So the state, it's all state land that the trail is built on, but the town owns the maintenance. So we're responsible for pavement, benches and things, mowing, tree trimming. So basically our tree trimming operation was going to be from Brickyard Road all the way to Red Oak Hill. And we're taking dead tree limbs, dead trees, trees that are too close to the trail. When trees are too close to the trail, their roots end up making those root marks in the trail, and to avoid overcrowding, you typically would remove a tree anyways, so you select the trees closest to the trail, and we have standards for that back that up. So it was essentially that. And then we also had an arborist come out and further refine our marks on the trees. But like I said, we've been put on hold since the passing of that developer.
So what does our trail maintenance have to do, especially if it's Brickyard to Red Oak? You know, what does that have to do with a couple 100 feet of property along Midpoint?
A midpoint development will be lowering the trail. Neil, I forget off the top of my head how many feet it's lowering, but it's significant enough where I think it's a 5% slope or something similar to that will be for a couple
Yeah.
100 feet pretty much between the two bridges. And then that will allow the developer to connect the trail to a scenic river trail that is also available or will be available for public use.
But what does that have to do with tree trimming up by Brickyard?
Tree trimming, we'd be doing that as maintenance, and this is a reason to start doing it.
Okay.
They also have to repave that part of the trail too, and this is pretty heavy equipment.
Okay. So
So
do it
what
all
do
at
they
once
call
and not trash it while we're doing that.
Exactly. Not trash the new stuff. Get this out of the way. We won't have to go back and do it for another 20, 30 years. Just kind of get it out of the way now, and
And
eventually we'll repave the other sections of the trail that haven't been paved by the developer.
Sure. Can we start this before Midpoint gets started?
More than likely we're going to be doing it whether Midpoint starts or not, but it just got shelved because of the passing of the developer at the moment.
Yeah, because that river
We'll
trail would
likely
be
pick back up
awesome.
with it in the
Yeah.
spring
Okay.
or maybe late winter, depending on how the winter goes.
And is the river trail going to go all the way from there to the back of the Mormon temple?
No, the developer doesn't own all that land.
Okay.
He owns
It was going to come back out on Route 4, wasn't it? Before the temple?
Okay,
yeah,
where like the driveway to what is it, the gravel pit is?
yeah, exactly.
And then we'll get a nice wide sidewalk going through that little med complex in the corner opposite.
Yeah, Two Bridgewater owes the town a 10-foot wide sidewalk,
Okay.
I believe. Don't quote me on that yet.
And
But,
there is a wide sidewalk almost to the temple, right? Past the
From
yeah,
Bridgewater to
Yeah.
the temple, and then I think at the temple it turns into a 5-foot wide sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then
And-
it gets pretty dicey once you go by the trailer station there and all that.
Yeah, we tried doing a connectivity project, but for the LOTSIP grant that was this year, but our dollar number was too large for their sidewalk projects. So
Could we reduce the scope of it and get like a couple parcels done?
perhaps, or we'll go for it next time with the town funding the remaining portion.
Okay.
And then I've heard about the sidewalk that they're putting in along Meadow Road. Where does that go exactly from? Is that from New Britain Avenue to the like the farm stand there at the Y intersection?
It might be Plainville Avenue to the Y intersection. I believe it's supposed to be about a mile. I haven't done the plans for
Okay.
it yet.
Okay.
The town manager's office applied for the grant, not mine. So they just told us to get ready for it because they want a grant. So, maybe it stops over by Judson Lane. I forget. I
Okay.
have to look at the RFP.
Okay. But that'll be a nice improvement as well.
Yep. Yeah, we can count that as a win on our bike league application.
Yep. And Ron, there is a crosswalk over New Britain Ave, in case you were wondering.
Right.
Got to bring it full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks for the updates, Dylan.
Of course. Anyone else have any questions or concerns that group can help with or I can help with? No, not seeing anything. All right. Does somebody want to call the meeting to adjourn?
Can we call the meeting to be adjourned?
Yes.
Sure.
I second that.
All right, 8:30.